What if one thing you love the most suddenly became the thing that terrifies you the most? Like, say, your dog, or your cat, or your fish. What if your tropical vacation turns into your worst nightmare you never saw coming because somebody has a pet chimpanzee? Well, that's exactly what's going on in Primate. This intense, brutal new creature thriller makes you squinch up in your seat more than once.
Lucy, bad, bad, bad.
Give me the phone.
Today we're talking about tension, we're talking about gore, isolated Hawaii vibes, and unique character moments. And yeah, some parts made me roll my eyes, but no spoilers, just honest reactions that made this movie great. So the basic premise of this movie is there's a pet chimpanzee named Ben, and he suddenly goes feral and he starts attacking his family and the people around the villa. I also have to say off the jump, this movie is fast paced, there's a lot of tension in between, and I like how it's isolated into one spot on the Hawaii estate. I have to say, this movie has some, I would say, good jump scares. It doesn't always rely on jump scares, but it gives you just enough in the background to make your whole body say, nah, And the way they shoot the scenes with Ben in the background and how it's not focused just on him, it's focused on the character on screen, but you can see him do sudden movements and you're like, oh shit. When they're walking around trying to figure things out, all I can think about is this.
He's in the walls. He's in the goddamn wall!
Now, most horror films spend a lot of time on exposition, and I was worried about that at first, but Primate pretty much jumped straight into it, and it feels like you're in a pressure cooker once things start going, and the isolated location helps a lot. You know, you feel the distance from safety, and Ben, he's not predictable, you know, he's smart, he's fast, and honestly, I did not see this coming at all. This movie doesn't just show horror, but we'll get into that later. It makes you feel it. Most creature features give you an animal that's threatening, but Primate blends that fear of sense of betrayal. You know, it's one thing to be chased by a monster, and it's another when it used to be your pet. And that transition from beloved family member to nightmarish predator is handled in a way a lot of horror movies wish they could pull off. One thing I liked, aside from the scare and the gores, is the family dynamic, especially involving the dad. He's deaf, and something that you don't see in everyday horror movies. It adds a deeper layer of communication that they have to go through and vulnerability that's surprisingly moving. Rather than using the deafness as a cool character quirk like in Don't Breathe, they use it as a way to raise the stakes in the situation. And since the dad can't hear, he doesn't know what's going on around him. And so there's a couple cool scenes that have the dad in it where it adds that aspect to it. Now let's move into what didn't work. There's not a lot that didn't work, but there's still a few things that I did not like. First things first is the party trope. Man, every horror movie from Scream to I Know What You Did Last Summer, well recently done movies, they always use the party trope like, let's go party. And then all of a sudden these things happen. Like, why does it always have to be that? You know, why can't it be something else? Why can't it just be a normal night? They always have the party and stuff like that. And I think I'm just getting sick of it, to be honest. In a way, it feels kind of lazy, like a shortcut to get the characters into the wrong place at the wrong time. It's a trope I feel like it's done way too many times. And then second, I mean, this is no surprise. Like, it's like, why did you do that? Why? So many times I'm asking myself that. Now, they were going good for a little bit. They had a good few moments where, okay, I was like, okay, smart decision. But then there was a lot that I was like, why? Just stop. What are you doing? And speaking of what are you doing, there's a couple characters that just show up to get absolutely obliterated. There's no background, there's no introduction really, and that's fine for a B movie, Carnage movie, but it doesn't add emotional stakes at all. So it was like, what's the reason for them popping up? And nobody just walks up in somebody's house like that, especially nowadays. Now let's start with the kills. There's not a lot of movies that make my body quiver, but this one did. It was a few kills I was like, oh, what? They're meant to make you feel something. They're meant to make you squinch up. And it was a lot of theater reactions when I went to go see this movie from each kill. I say all that to say that Primate is definitely one of the ones. This is a solid horror movie. I loved it. I thought it was a great movie, and it adds really good tension. It's isolated, and the kills are intense and effective. They don't just feel like they were thrown in. they are actually earned throughout the whole movie. So if you're a horror fan looking for a gnarly, intense creature feature nightmare, this is definitely one of the better ones we've got in a while. You know, January horror movies usually aren't the best, but this is a solid one for sure. If you have seen Primate, have you seen Primate? What part made you squinch your face the most? Without spoiling it though. And if you really enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another movie review. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and please, please avoid pet chimpanzees on vacation or just pet chimpanzees in general. Peace out.